Do, do. All right. Drawing tablet is right here. Green lights say I'm online. Kick on over to the remote control. Everything's just fine. Eh? Question mark. I think it works. Now I'll be one of those internet jerks that you see on the YouTube now. Space Goonie is here 42. Also, there's a Pat Prue. Maybe he's not right in the room, but he's there with you in the house. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da. Do-do-da. All right. Ripley, gonna work. Oh, Ripley, been so busy. Are you okay, sweetest angel? Meow, 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 meow. All right, I'm trusting you. Hit the button. I can see it looks like the microphone is working. You're playing an episode of Batman with Milo in the background. That dude is still just clicking away on that one mouse button again and again and again. Ah, snaps. So just do it? So just do it. So just do it? Everything seems to be working. Hey! And once again, welcome to live streaming fun time where we're going to make a comic strip. I started doodling a little pigeon right before the stream started because, you know, I went to the park and I saw a pigeon today. I also saw a squirrel, speaking of Pat Prue, and desperately tried to get a video slash photo of this squirrel on the other side of the stream because he kept whipping down out of the woods and coming to the stream. I don't know why. He wasn't touching the water, but just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This seems to be such an adventure. Then he disappeared. I'm like, I missed the squirrel. Then he'd come back again. Like, you can't possibly be the same squirrel. Then he'd whip away again, just like, you're so, whatchamacallit, quicksilvery. And I just can't get a decent picture of you. There's like one where I'm like, I don't even know if the squirrel is in this picture. I think he's here, or I just took a picture of the side of the stream bank. And then another one where he's just like, whoa, I'm halfway out of here. Like, this isn't a good picture to use for anything. And then I started to leave the park, and there was a guy like taking some video of the park on this little bridge. And I'm just like, oh my god, there he is. Like, the squirrel whipped up, and then he just like was hanging out by this guy's feet. It was like, this guy doesn't even know. He's in squirrel country right now, and he could have my photo of the squirrel that I'm looking for. And then the squirrel whipped off up a tree, and then some pigeons came out of the tree, and that one pigeon from today's reel slash Instagram post saying, at Mr. Cartoons will be live today, was just hanging out right next to me. So I'm like, all right, let's try this once again. I've been in the, 30-inch vicinity of a pigeon like 5 times this week where I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a quick little video or photo of you super close up, and you're going to be the thing for the live stream announcement this week. And every single time, as soon as I get my camera out, they're like, oh, no. You're not going to cancel us today. We're out of here. We know what happens on the internet and the Twitter sphere. We're gone. And then away they go with their little branch and a spray of turds rocketing them into the air. But this guy was like, no, I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to pick up some sticks. And yeah. So I'm pretty sure I had some other idea that wasn't pigeon based for today's comic strip. I still don't have an idea for today's comic strip, but today's comic strip will in some way be about Milo and a pigeon, even though a long time ago in a galaxy somewhere, possibly on my old YouTube channel or on the old No Such Thing as No Such Thing as Grown Ups YouTube channel, I was grabbing just a stock video of stuff, and there's a video of Milo just screaming at a pigeon, which perhaps I still have it on my computer here somewhere. I mean, it has to be, right? Why would it be gone completely? Why would it be gone completely? Because you're irresponsible with your files? Because right now on the other screen, there is a window open that says, hey, would you like to sign up to have a cloud backup system? Because you don't have a cloud backup system, even though it's the future. And that last time your building possibly burned down, you were like, well, hopefully my hard drive is intact on my backup or it's otherwise, or else I am in the woods backup wise, because you're computer wise, you're just irresponsible. You're not like me, who's over here. I've got my mug always ready to go, never running into bugs. But you're just like, oh, I'll just drink out of whatever I got going on today. What are you drinking today? Some bottle of water, like an irresponsible NFT environment killer? Is that what you're doing? We haven't even played the intro yet, all right? This is beyond cold open. This is practically the whole stream and the whole show, so just stop it, all right? Hey, what about a little ditty about Jack and Diane, huh? Tried to do the best being American clad. Hey, Jack is gonna be a football star, and then Diane's gonna be in the back of his car. What is this song about? You gotta rock and rage your soul. The Bible Belt that's gonna save your soul. Now I think about the '60s and also Transformers and something else. And just play the intro. I don't have anything else. Mr. Cartoons is recorded live in front of you guys. There's a shark fin. If I had a hat, it would be like a shark fin. That's a quote from LL Cool J, because ladies love that Cool James. My name is Curtis, and of course this is Milo. And Ted, hey bros, it's true. Like it says in the chat room right now, I am totally afraid of pigeons, but I have good reason. Those things are completely disease-ridden, and if they get near me, I will get the diseases that they have. Bugs just jump off of them and into my eyes. Into my eyes, guys. All right, where's Ted camera? Hey Ted, yeah, you don't want to get, maybe I should talk to this camera. You don't want to get too close to pigeons. Most animals out in the wild are just covered with things. That's just a fact. It might be symbiotic for them, where they're eating each other's grossness and whatnot. But most of us live indoors, and we hand sanitize, and we're not prepared. We're not prepared to have bugs crawling in our eyes. We're just not. So we don't know any better. But even an indoor cat who hasn't experienced the world, somewhere in the lizard brain and the animal instinctualness that they have, knows, like, no, I'm not to make friends with this pigeon, even if it is friendly, even if we are going to make one of those TikTok, YouTube GIFs where, the pigeon or I put my arm around that pigeon and we're just like, oh, look at these two different animals from two different sides of the universe becoming friends. No. If it lives out in the wild, especially in floating around a city, it's not good. Not good. I think you meant to click on Ted. Hey Ted, I hate you, but whatever you have to say. Yeah, brah. I'm just saying that I'm sure all of the pigeons, they mean well and they seem like good guys. But deep down, under those feathers of many metallic-looking colors, they might as well be evil Decepticon Transformers. 'Cause dudes, and righteous as they might be in their hearts, their skin is crawling with things that will make my skin crawling and cost avocado shakes upwards of $500 to $1,000 in bills to keep me alive. And that's totally not rad or cool or bodacious, guys. Not any of those things. All right. That's cat talk. Got a lot of cat talk. Went and got a haircut, and even though I haven't been many places in about a year, 2 places that I went this week. One was a haircutting place that I don't normally go to because it's just, hey, I'm just gonna walk in, and I've been afraid of that, and I've been going to another place because they're like, hey, stop at the doorway. Let us take your temperature like it's a Minority Report. Hey, rub your hands down with this before you get in here. Excuse me. Hey, let me run down the checklist. None of us can be trusted. None of us can be trusted. And I'm like, yeah, cool, excellent. I like this. This makes me feel good. And the last time I went there, I left and I went over to Tim Hortons, got a gift card, and came back like, hey guys, just want to say thanks. Go get yourself some, cheap, dirty Tim Hortons sandwiches and or donuts as a thank you for the effort, extra-wise, that you guys have been putting in and making weirdos like me feel a little bit better about going out in the world. Like, how much better? Or how bad am I? Talking to my mom on the phone last night, she specifically said, hey, do you take anything for that? That being, your general anxiety and fears of nonsense in the world all of the time to keep you from going to the hospital every 2 weeks for any and all reasons whatsoever. Like, no, but I have started going to some online therapy, Mom. Like, all right, cool. I won't ask you any questions about that because therapy is a secret. Like, oh, okay. I mean, I'm just telling stories. Just basically the same as our conversation, except she has more PhDs than you do. And that is all. That's all. It's just like, hey, how does an adult go and talk to another adult and feel adulted in the world when they've become an adult and realize adults aren't real? They're just a bunch of 15-year-olds who are taller and more beardier and act like they know things, but they don't. But they don't. Yeah, some of them talk to imaginary cats, and then they go to their therapist and say, hey, remember last week when you said that I should go play some video games online and do a little show about it and have fun with that? And then you're like, okay, I will make sure to do that. That is the goal for the week. And then you specifically say, excuse me, therapist. So last week I sat there for about a good hour and a half and I played a game versus my imaginary cat whilst pretending to be that imaginary cat. And that's fine, right? Is that fine? That's probably fine. Hey, am I going to be a chapter in a book about stuff like this? Is this going to be a United States of Terror situation? And then they're going to make an HBO show about this? Or Showtime, perhaps? And if so, how much of that will I get a cut of? Because that sounds like some sweet, sweet cheddar. Can we get some of that cheddar? No. You made some notes, so perhaps this week should be like, oh, by the way, that thing you said last week, had some time to think of it, and yeah, you're out of your mind. You shouldn't be talking to yourself as a cat for an hour and a half. Like, well, how about 2 hours or 2.5 hours? Huh? What if the cat wins? What if the cat wins at those games? Because I do, and I'm the wizard of gaming, and next time, Gadget, next time, I will destroy you again. That's my thing that I do. Remember when Barack Obama was like, that's what I do, and he dunked that shot? I cannot drop any hot rocks into a basket across the court, but bring up some frogs, and I'll drop some hot frogs on you. That's just what I do. Obama styles. Obama out. We'll try again. And yeah, maybe I'll beat him. So, already tirading off into multiple directions about all kinds of things. But if you're new, hello and welcome. My name is Curtis. I think I already said that. That's Milo. And there's a cavalcade of imaginary characters, some of which are cats, and some of which are men that are dressed like bats. That's right, I'm over here. And I'm live on location in the street. I can get people's perspective of what's going on in the world. You want to know about what's going on in the park? No, I'm the one who's That's you pointed in the wrong direction. Batman, shut up. I've got the stories of what's going on in the park. You've got stories of nights that are dark. But yeah. So speaking of going to the park, taking pictures of pigeons and whatnot, this morning, went for my walk before I sat down and started doing my animation work. Um, and This one wasn't especially weird, but just surprising that I was like walking on one side of the stream and there's another path on the other side of the stream, and this girl or lady was like walking, and then I realized like is she wearing like just like sandals? I think she's just wearing sandals. I've got a winter hat on. It's -1, bare minimum, and there might be a bit of wind. There's still some ice around. It's still a little bit cold, but I've also seen like people in shorts already. But the weirder part is like, yeah, people wear whatever, open-toed shoes and all that stuff. That's you do your thing. But she sat down on one of the benches, and as I came around, I realized like not only was she wearing sandals, she took them off and like put her feet like on the cold wood. Like what's happening? Am I? Which one of us is crazy? Which one of us is crazy? Both is probably the answer. I'm probably gonna guess both. Yeah. So if this is the voting situation, chalk me it up in both columns, A and or B, just like the genie. So that's not the crazy part. That's not the crazy part. All winter long, no matter how like the coldest day that there was, where I'm like, oh, this is too cold, but I've got to run over the grocery store or something, and it was just like long underwear, jeans, thickest socks that I own, shirt, sweater, thickest mask and or scarf that I own. No, yeah, because I've got like a flannel-ish mask slash scarf thing that I'm like, whoop, this is what's going on. Hat with flaps that come down over the side, hood up, winter jacket, hood up over that because the hoodie hood was up first. Like, it's the coldest. It's so cold. All the DJs were saying, damn, and if they were selling mittens, they'd be selling them by the brand name. And yeah, it's fully just like really hard, really difficult not to be like, hey guy, um, I know that you're aware you're wearing shorts, and I'm clearly aware that you're wearing shorts and that it is the coldest day, but I mean, what's the deal? Like you probably just came from the gym, but I think it was at a time when the gym was shut down. So so you're just like, hey, I was home wearing shorts, PlayStationing probably, and then I wanted to go to the grocery store and get some video game and snacks, and you were like, why not? Sandals and shorts. It's only -1 million out, and and that's just what I'm gonna do. And then the response would be like, "You're having both sides of this conversation for me. Why did you even tap me to bring me into this conversation?" I'd be like, "Oh my god, if I had made new business cards slash postcards for damn it every time for the Mr. Cartoons stuff, then you know I would direct you to this. But one of these days, I've got to take some time and make some more cards. Hey, by Angel XP again, again, my by Angel friend. The little ditty about by Angel XP. Something else. He's watching me. What? Sucking chili dogs outside the taste freeze. That guy was wearing shorts. Oh, I can't say that. I can't say that. You see how white I am? If I say that, then it's only meant, not meant, but it only comes across in an offensive way. As much as it rhymes. As much as it rhymes. But I do appreciate the rhyming help and the hanging out. Um, but anyway, that's just the way it is, especially just in this town. Oh my God, the giant fly just came in here. What time of year is it? Um, uh, 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 I went down to the park as I do most days. Sometimes I just walk around town, but I usually make it down and it goes off into the woods. And there's stairs and there's little waterfalls and streams and occasionally deer and ducks and fish. I think it's a fly. There wouldn't be a bee, right? There's no bees out right now. It looks like a big horsefly or something right behind the camera, and it just keeps taking me off guard. It's not the right way to say that, but you know what I mean. So it's a pretty good place, especially like to just go and either take my headphones out or leave them in and just sit by the river and listen to the water as it rolls down the river, like a Raffi song, I think, or that other guy that used to sing. Can't remember the names of the kid song singers from my childhood. Fred Penner, I think he used to sing that as well. Everybody used to sing the same song. I believe it was in our music books in music class, along with the baby beluga, swimming so wild and swimming so free. So I sat on one of the benches. Once it gets to summertime, I just sit on the grass next to the water. It almost seems like a tiny June bug, really, if not for a huge fly. But odds are there'll be a crazy motion blur in front of the camera at some point as it whips around from light to light. Um, but yeah. Perhaps we will have another Barack Obama moment, and I will take a fly out of the air with my bare hands. But it looks like one of those things where it's like I think it might be more beetle than fly, and there's some insects that I really don't want to touch, and it looks like one of those ones that I don't want to touch. It's got some color to it, some yellow that I don't know, looks poisonous. So anyway, these two kids walk in front of me. One holding a skateboard, normal, pretty normal. Most of the pathway after a certain point isn't very or at all skateboard friendly, but for a little while, I'm sure you could skateboard. This particular day, everything was still a little bit frozen and snow covered here and there. Oh, that will be good. That will be good. I mean, not that it wouldn't be too difficult to make a fly scene and cut to it within the time of the stream, but yeah, I do have somewhere. Oh, you know what it is? It's a ladybug. It finally landed. It's or a ladybird, if you will. Um, yeah. Hopefully they're not amassing on the windows like they do occasionally. I don't know if anybody's experienced that, those certain times of year when it's just like, oh, the windows are covered with ladybugs, and it makes ladybugs so much more terrifying than when you just see one and you're like, hey, no big deal. You're the friendliest thing. I definitely spent tons of my childhood like, please land on my hand, ladybug. You're adorable and everything's fine. Um, so crisis averted, but if it does get too close, it will be destroyed. Or I don't know. I'll try to gently rest it on the camera lens so it can walk around and we can maybe see a blurry, or it will autofocus on the underside of a ladybug. But he seems, or she, they seem quite content, just hanging out on the light softening filter over the light. Oh, now he's cresting over the edge into the darkness. Oh no, I can see his reflection on the window. Anyway, so there was a kid, two kids, one with a skateboard. Like, what are you gonna even do with that skateboard? And the other one with a pogo stick. Like, if anything, the terrain is better for a pogo stick, I guess. But you're not gonna like keep up with your friend on a skateboard on a pogo stick who uses a like the only time in the history of the universe where anybody has used a pogo stick as a source of transportation is in cartoons and comic strips from the 50s. Like that's it. That's it. And occasionally when an old man from the 50s is like, hey, let me draw some cartoons for you, storyboard something, and he'll throw somebody on a pogo stick because it's still just like, that doesn't look like it's from the 50s. Like, that's still a newish pogo stick. I know that you can still get pogo sticks. They're not completely erased from existence, but it's still like, what are you gonna do right now? Like, they're not. Where are they going? You're just gonna carry a pogo stick around? Is that just your thing that you do? Like, you know, a kid that carries around nunchucks, or the kid that's always got a Walkman in 2021. You just carry around a pogo stick. Like, you're definitely not gonna be jumping on this pogo stick. And I mean, the last time I've ever used a pogo stick, any time I've ever seen somebody use a pogo stick, after like 3 jumps, maybe 4, you're completely bored by pogo sticking. I mean, it's not fun. You don't get anywhere by it. It's not like in the cartoons where it's like boing boing. I'm getting all over the place like a gummy bear, bouncing here and there. High adventures that are beyond compare. You're not a gummy bear. You're just a kid with a stick with a rusty old spring that really doesn't have that much spring to it. Having a good cushioned pair of sneakers and doing some jumping are definitely more efficient than pogo sticking. And they're sturdy enough. They're very heavy. You're trying to bounce a big chunk of metal up into the air. Or moon shoes, or even the Heelys. Like even I've thought like, oh, that's still a good idea. Like when you do see somebody like lean back on their heels or do the ones that like the wheel kind of clicks out, I'm like, yep, still seems like a great idea to me. Don't think I could ever balance on it without practicing forever, but for the people who can, yeah, Heelys seem like a genius idea. Why don't we all get inducted when we're children to you're 5 years old now. Time to start wearing shoes with wheels because it's a waste of time to be wearing shoes that don't have wheels. It's just crazy not to do. So they go up the pathway a little ways, like, 15 feet away from me. Skateboard kid drops the skateboard down. Away they start going. Pogo stick kid puts the pogo stick down and starts bouncing on a pogo stick. I guess that's what you guys are doing. Skateboard kid is already, might as well be long gone. So I assume they'll just be doing the old like, hey, one of us has a bike and the other one doesn't, friendship, and I'll just be circling around you, like some sort of Lord of the Rings like characters, like whatever. I'm a monster creature and you're just a regular human, so I'll just slow to your pace, but I'm super fast and powerful, so I'll just do 30 laps for every 2 steps that you take. But whatever. I'm pretty sure I had my headphones on. Water was bubbling away, and within seconds of away goes the skateboard kid. Um, uh, 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 some sort of noise, I guess, or just one of those things where it's like, oh, there's a disturbance in the force. My spider sense has gone off. Something has happened, and I look over, and Skateboard Kid is just fully just laying on the ground, not moving at all. Skateboard is 15 feet away. Now, of course, part of me is just like, oh, just move. Just move at least. I know when I fall down, I want to, and I usually do, just lay there for a minute because it's just like, you know what? This is a pretty good excuse to just stop. To just stop and reconsider my entire life and just lay here and just be like, oh, it's been a while since I've just laid on the ground, usually reserved for children. So, I slipped on some ice. I feel fine, but I don't feel like getting up right now. Hopefully nobody thinks that I'm dead. So I'm just looking. Pogo stick kid is still pogoing, slowly making their way over to the kid on the ground. Just like, at least one of you, make it known to me without having to take off my headphones that you're alive. Another adult is coming from the other direction, and they're walking over with some sort of concern, but also a little bit of disdain in their eyes, as in, don't make me walk all the way over here and check on you because I'm an adult walking my dog and I don't want to deal with kids. I've got a dog instead of kids, and this is exactly what I'm trying to avoid. Don't be dead right now. Don't be dead right now. Slash, do I got it? Should I call for help? And how come your friend is garbage and not rushing over to make sure that your head is not gushing blood? So I sat there, and normally, when somebody falls down and they're not moving, or they are moving, I still will, make my way over to make sure, like, phone in hand, dial 9-1, Millhouse style, and wait, like, should I dial the other one, or is everything cool? But there were little enough kids that they seemed still in that resilient age where it's like, even if this was a horrific fall, they're still probably going to get up and have adventures for the day. So Pogo Stick Kid finishes his or her trek over to laying on the ground kid, and other lady with the dog gets a little closer, and yeah, other kid still doesn't really move, but still kind of like, hey, how's it going, lady? And the lady's like, ugh. Ugh, kids these days. Like I walked all the way over here. Like, calm down, lady. You're already out walking a dog. It's fine. You walked 5 feet out of your way. Now you can go back into the grass and let your dog continue to pee or poop in a public area, and then maybe pick it up, but probably not. Um. So then, yeah, whatever. Kid was fine. Kid was fine. But mostly the crazy part. So it was like, yeah, I got to see. I didn't see anybody fall down, but it's like I got to see the aftermath of the falling down without any repercussions, and that's good. That's a good thing. It's a fun day. First ish thing in the morning. But the weird part was, of course, the pogo stick. Just the you really going pogo sticking today? Hey, hey, Steven. What's up, Judy? Um, why don't you grab your skateboard? Let's go to the park. I got a hankering for some pogo sticking. And nobody said that's stupid. Well, kids are stupid. I wanted a pogo ball for so long when I was a kid. And when I finally got my feet wrapped around somebody else's pogo ball, same deal as a pogo stick, which I had also tried, within 4 to 5 bounces, it was just like, this is like skipping rope. Somewhere in this apartment, I have a rope for skipping that I could use for exercise. It's apparently a very good source of exercise because just jumping up and down is a very good source of exercise. And yeah, other than the way it looked in an 80s, early 90s commercial of ooh, I wish I could remember the theme song to Pogo Ball, but it made it sound like the greatest thing in the world. And the new Pogo Ball things, bouncy, whatever they're called, excuse me, space balls that you can get, they look like a very inferior version. Like Pogo Balls were hardy back in the day when we really didn't care or understand the environment. So it was good thick plastic base, a big old thick like volleyball figure eight type thing. And Skip-Its also seemed like a great idea as well, but they were awful. Another hard piece of plastic wrapped around your ankle that you're just swinging until your ankle hurts. It was like I'm just smashing and swinging a piece of hard plastic with a mace at the other end around, and eventually the kids who do have one of these and bring them to school or out in the streets where we play. The ladybug is on my computer now. And they will realize that this is a mace. Whether they know what a mace is yet or a Tommy knocker, as was referenced in at least one of the children's books about some sort of ogre or giant swinging around a Tommy knocker, which was again just a chain mace. Um, and yeah, and then that's it. Then it is all about I'm swinging it around with my leg or just on my arm, and it's just like, whoever gets hit, you're the loser in Skip It, in the Adventures of Skip It that we're playing today. That's the game that we're playing. Can you survive? I own the Skip It, and I don't care if it counts the rotations anymore. It's all about whether or not I can hit another child with it, and I don't know. I was never one of those kids that brought the things that I owned to school. I just went to school for schooling, and I was always amazed that it was just like, hey, I got a new He-Man figure. Here's the new He-Man figure that I brought to school today. Like, oh my god, if I did that, I know that I wouldn't be going home without that thing being destroyed by some other kid just being like, hey, you brought a He-Man figure to school? Well, check it out. Look at how easy it is to break. Because I don't care about nothing. That's the way people were. But other people somehow were just like, check it out. I brought a pogo ball. How was that not being confiscated? What's going on here? There's no time for anyway. Anyway. Um it did make me think of something, but I drifted too hard into other stuff. Um Pogo balls, skip it. Oh yes. Um just a weird childhood game, if you will. Speaking of just dangerous Tommy knocker type things that are toys, none of this was a frisbee was involved, and that is technically a toy. Although I'm sure, like the yo-yo, frisbee was originally some sort of hunting disc. Um, but one day, I mean, we went through a few different things. It was like my cousin, myself, my brother, and maybe some other small neighborhood children or my other cousins that were small. Not that myself and my cousin weren't also young and small, but we drifted between sword fights, which was, we would each pick like just a selection of like three sticks from the forest, and then we would sword fight, not really trying to hit each other at all. We were very I can't think of a good old timey knight type word, but like valiant, not valiant, but like regal is the other word in my head. But hmm, considerate. Let's go with where the name of that game was just like it was about like basically the each sword was our life bar, and you were trying to use your sword in the best way slash pick the best sword to break down the other person's sword. So once it was broken, they had to go to their next one, and whoever uh, sword survived was the winner, and then we would just keep doing that. Um, Chivalrous. That's exactly the word I was looking for. Thanks, guys. Um, so once they realized, I was like, oh, I'm taking fresh branches, branches, and or the most recently fallen logs that are still good and alive enough, and that's why I'm winning. And they're picking the biggest, most menacing looking logs, which, although they're menacing looking, the reason is because they're rotting and mostly dead. So it's like, I'm gonna chop through that thing in no time whatsoever, but I'm not gonna let you in on the secret until after I get a couple wins under my belt. Of course, escalation must happen. So somehow we transverse from sword fighting over to frisbeeing, which my cousin and I, we got in a pretty good mode where we would play frisbee all the time, and we got just really good at just like, hey, we're throwing it back and forth. We're not trying to throw it over each other's heads. We're just having a good frisbee rally for the longest time and feeling great about not dropping it or missing it. And it's just like we're practically sporty over here. So then we invented a game called Kill the Frisbee. And I might have mentioned this before, I almost definitely did. But Kill the Frisbee basically incorporated swords that were now spears and a frisbee. And so we would take turns. One person would throw the frisbee, would be the clay pigeon shooter, if you will, and then the rest of us would gather in kind of a clump in the yard and just like pick our spot and semi dangerously. Again, this is the whole reason that lawn darts aren't a thing anymore. And this is like right in the front lawn, fully in the front lawn. There are neighbors. Easily, an adult could be, "Hey, don't do that. Don't don't do that. Don't don't throw spears over and near and around small children." But for the most part, because even at a small age, I was very conscientious of keeping everyone and myself alive. It was these are the rules. You have to wait for the frisbee to go pass over you, and then you begin to throw a spear. And I'm not sure. I believe you get two, once again, maybe two spears or two shots, so that as the frisbee goes over, if you get it out of the air with your spear, that was worth like 3 points. And if you then could finish it off once it landed from wherever it is. So once the frisbee landed, you had to stop where you were, and then from wherever that was, everybody took a turn throwing. So it wasn't just spears being flung through the air. And I don't believe we sharpened them at all. They were just sticks. And if you could hit that target from wherever you were, that was another point. I can't remember which one was worth more. Um, but yeah, that lasted at least a good solid, hour or two or more. But it was just definitely a 1 day thing, until I'm pretty sure an adult did recognize, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, it's in a game we invented. Here's the point system. We put a lot of thought into it. Like, yeah, no, the word kill is in your game, and you're throwing spears with other small children. So no, that's not a game you're playing anymore. Like, this makes sense. We're against it. And if you're not looking and we go to a different part of the yard, we're probably gonna do this again. But for the most part, it's hard not to disagree. Hard to disagree. Hard not to agree with your adult logic over here. Now, note wise, was an autocorrect. Didn't know what I was reading there. Can't get back to my remote. So one thing in the world of cool stuff on the internet slash television slash movie theaters, if that was still a thing. Was the first Suicide Squad movie called Suicide Squad or The Suicide Squad? Because the new Suicide Squad movie seems to be called Suicide Squad still. Maybe it's got a the in it. Initial photos and stuff when they were first starting to make it, I was like, ugh, why? Why? This looks like, again, in the vein of the original Justice League movie, it looks like a real fake movie with a bunch of very nonsensy characters. What? Why? Who's letting anybody make this? Just why? And who cares? And then the other day, wrong camera. Then the other day, they released the Red Band slash The Suicide Squad trailer from the mind and directorial powers of James Gunn. James Gunn. Yes, James Gunn. I keep getting him confused with the guy who directs and works with Simon Pegg on the Cornetto trilogy movies. The not The Walking Dead, but the Shaun of the Dead and whatnot. Can't think of his name right now, but I keep thinking it's that guy, but it's not. Different person. James Gunn, who made Guardians of the Galaxy and a bunch of other fun stuff. I believe the movie about the kid who drives the getaway car for Kevin Spacey, rest in peace, and John Hamm. That was just amazing. It was just amazing. We've talked about that before. It was like just a nice, great musical in a car that had robberies. It was, I don't know if I'll watch it a second time, but I loved it. I loved it. And I might be confusing James Gunn again with the other guy. Edgar Wright is who I'm thinking of. That might actually, I think I'm wrong. I think that might be an Edgar Wright movie, and James Gunn is a whole separate person. Either way, they're both amazing. So, first Suicide Squad was dumb. It was very, very dumb. I watched a review of it that very clearly laid out how dumb it was. And it made it seem so dumb that I'm like, well, might as well sit down and watch it now. I've watched so much of it, basically, be dissected, that I might as well just see exactly what it is. And from beginning to end, it's dumb. It never gets better. It never starts to make any sense. It did make me think, didn't I watch an animated version of the Suicide Squad that I think was great? I'm pretty sure it was great. And there is an animated version of the Suicide Squad that makes sense. It's about, we got to get into Arkham, so we got to get people who know Arkham. And, same deal. We're still going to put some things in their necks so they do what we want them to do. And it's going to be a wacky adventure. I think Captain Boomerang was still in it. And it was great. It was great. I've watched it more than once, and even the second time, I'm like, this is still awesome. Why is this feature version that I'm sure cost millions and millions of dollars more not anywhere close to this? And clearly that Suicide Squad movie was, again, there was like 4 different versions. I think James Gunn did have something to do with that first one, but in the Snyder Cut world, people still want, like, hey, are we ever going to get the good cut of Suicide Squad? And no, even the good version is still not going to be that good. It was dumb. Oh god, yeah. It was definitely I guess I'll watch this on a plane. And I mean, I don't know how long it was, but it feels like it's 90 hours long. and it's just jam packed with just cliched moments. And once again, it is just like everything about this movie is the fault of the person who is trying to keep this movie, like this scenario, from happening. And Amanda Waller is the worst in animated form, in comic book form, in movie form. She's just the worst person. And having How to Train Your Murder her play her in the movie is just like, yep, that's the greatest actor you could get. It's not that hard to hate this person. She's very good at acting, but I hate everybody. I hate everybody so bad in this movie, and not in the way where it's like, yeah, they're bad guys and we're supposed to hate them. It is just like, I hate everything about this, and who cares? And by the time it ends, it's just like, so what? What was the point of that? Why did you do that? But I guess it's gonna lead to some sort of Harley Quinn movie, and that looks like unwatchable trash as well. And I just couldn't even bring myself to watch that. I barely even watched the weird reviews that break it down and show you this is why it's unwatchable trash. Because once again, in the same vein as the Suicide Squad, here's the movie we wanted to make. Here's the script we wanted to make. Here's what we ended up making, and then people were like, this is garbage, so let's recut it to be a Harley Quinn movie, which it's not, so now it's going to make even less sense. So, yet another one of those. DC seems to be notorious for doing that, and the Snyder Cut is the only one that came back and was like, alright, we're actually going to fix this. So, saving. Progress bars showing what's happening. Progress bars making way crappening. But the new Suicide Squad trailer, at least, looks super fun. Like, the characters still look like ridiculous characters, but they look like they work in this world. It doesn't look like a fake movie. Sharknado, King Shark looks awesome. I didn't realize that Stallone was his voice. I guess that's fine. I don't think I hate Stallone. I don't know. But the CG looks fun. Polka Dot Man is just obscenely depressed and doesn't care if they live or die. And I'm just like, something about that is kind of intriguing, because I definitely don't care about Polka Dot Man. I don't know what his powers are. I don't know if he has any powers. And I'm not sure if he's Rick. I don't think he's Rick Flag. I don't know who he is, but the guy with the metal thing, I think it's Channing Tatum or one of those guys that I can't delineate between. I'm a big guy who's in movies. Whoever he is, that character looks stupid, but the dialogue seems James Gunny funny, and I'm like, damn, I want to see this. I want to see this. And I don't know much about Starro, but at the end you can see a bit of Starro, and they're all like, we got a kaiju to fight here. And I'm like, this is what you were going for in the first one. You got a big giant monster, but the big giant monster is going to be Starro? He's like the most dangerous thing in DC mythos. And yeah, I want to see this. I don't know what this movie's about. Still going to be probably a mishmash of a bunch of nonsense, but I think it's going to be funny. And the other one, it wasn't funny, other than, hey, Will Smith, say something funny. Okay. Sorry, Will Smith. You're a billionaire now, so you're not able to be funny on the level of the regular people anymore, and you clearly don't really even want to be in this movie anymore, and nothing makes any sense. So you've got nothing to bounce around with, and nobody knows how to work this Harley Quinn character. And for some reason, I think Captain Boomerang was the only character I liked in this movie, and Captain Boomerang is the worst. He's dumb. He's the worst. Although, I've definitely seen a few animated DC things where I'm just like, oh man, Captain Boomerang, you're great. So, like, yeah, beginning to end of the trailer, I'm just like, I feel bad. I feel bad for hating this based on the initial images I've seen before. I instantly just like I regret every time now that I'm just like, oh, why would they even make this movie? This is stupid. What a stupid thing. You're just making something stupid. Because sometimes it's awesome, and other times it is just like, who cares if it's stupid? I still haven't watched Sharknado, but I'm glad that they exist. It sounds like a lot of people are having a real good time making them and a real good time watching them, and maybe someday I'll watch one of them. But I've listened to podcasts about them and watched the everything wrong withs and stuff dissecting them. This ladybug is out of control over here. And just like, yep, that fully entertained me. So it's what did I just do? Oh, I undid. So again, just a lot of stuff like that where we've talked about, those horrible dinosaur movies that I watched when I was sick on the couch. Where I'm like, these shouldn't exist. These are terrible, but I'm glad they exist because I got to talk about them. There's probably 100 podcasts and movie review things where somebody got a lot of fodder out of those to make some hilarious observations about them. So you know, that's great. I keep forgetting about Bob Odenkirk's John Wick. Hopefully, that's as awesome as the trailer makes it seem. But just like Pat's saying there, sometimes the trailer is all you need. There's a few movies out there where I'm just like, I don't even want to see this because I so thoroughly enjoyed that trailer, and I'm pretty sure that was the whole movie, and the rest is going to be them being sad. And I'm already working on a movie right now, or a short film for somebody that is 90% sad. Today, I went back and fixed a scene where I was just like looking through what I did, and I'm like, I have so much to do, so much to get done. I start back at my regular job on Thursday, so I will be doing, some work on this at night. So I'm trying desperately to work day and night to get as much of it out of the way as I can before Thursday. Um, and it's just hard because I'm really leaning on this going for a walk crutch where I'm like, well, it's a good crutch to lean on. It is exercise. It gets stuff out of your head. But I'll do a few scenes where I'm just like, all these characters are so sad all the time. I feel so bad for them. But this one scene, I was like, it just passes by. It's almost a throwaway scene at this point where, again, it's not my film to divulge the things, but this little young fox character is there and trying to act like I'm not sick. Don't treat me like a sick person, and basically abuse me in some way. And then the bad characters, let's say, kind of creep in, and the little character gets covered in shadow, and the other characters just kind of in shadow in the foreground, and then it just cuts, and I'm just like, that's fine. I don't want this, you don't really want this to be foreboding and terrifying, but that is kind of what it's supposed to be. It just cuts to the next thing, and it's like, well, what did happen there? You don't really have enough time to let it sink in that it isn't a bad time. It isn't a good time. Nothing good happened in that scene. So today, like the second thing I did, I finished one scene where a character was like, "Oh, I realized like I skipped ahead to some of the happier scenes where I'm just like the character's like I'm in tears, but I realized, oh, you are the hero of your journey because you went through this terrible thing." But I'm like, oh, but that terrible thing didn't register as quite as terrible as it should have to give this realization enough impact. I can fix that. I can fix that. Oh God. So what did you do? So what did you do? Did you make it? Did you hit that little kid? Did you take the little kid and make them get hit? No. Didn't show anything horrific, but instead this didn't really change anything. Again, Snyder Cut style, just gave it more time to breathe. And I'm like, if instead of dissolving from this situation to the next one, we faded to black, it will be 1,000 times more sad and terrifying and depressing than if we just dissolve to this other scene where the grown-up characters are just, not being nice, and not sharing their delightful baked goods with the little characters. And it's just like we need to register that's, there was a slight amount of not goodness that happened in that little guy's life. And yeah, so instead of it ending with some shadow on it, they creep in a little bit more. The whole screen clouds in shadow and darkness, and then it just stays black for a second, and then we cross dissolve, and it's just like, oh, I need to take a break now. Something something bad just happened to that little, and you don't even know what it was. Maybe they just forced some real bad medicine into its mouth. Maybe they beat it. I don't know. Maybe who knows? Maybe they yelled at it. Maybe it was dragged out and put somewhere. Like anything could happen. It's still technically based on even more horrific events that actually happened in real life. So this is still the nicer version of that. But yeah, I'm just like, well, I just did that. I just did that. So you're the monster. You're actually in this instance of you trying to depict the monsters. You have become the monster who's giving the monsters their power. Really, they were just there, and it was kind of innocuous. And you were like, oh, this Steppenwolf isn't sharp enough. Let's add some spikes to this Steppenwolf, and only a Superman can stop it. So is there a Superman? I mean, technically, yes. Eventually, there's another scene that's still like, oh god, and it's like it's in a fantasy sequence, but then the good guy shows up and helps everybody, but it's a fantasy sequence. So I didn't even really register that until I was doing some dishes later on. That 2011. Give up, never get there. I don't know what that means. But yeah, this is very much like the Life of Pi thing, where when you finish watching Life of Pi and you realize, oh, that wasn't about a little kid magically surviving against a orangutan and a tiger and a shark and whatever else was going on in that movie. It was even more sinister because those were actually people the whole time. Like, like when you really just let that sink in, it's just like, oh my god. And I'm just kind of Life of Pieing over here. I'm like, oh my god, every day this film gets harder and harder to work on. But want to get it done, need to get it done, and I will get it done. Never give up, never surrender. Um, Life always finds a way. Um, but like I've said before, Moxie Fox, who I'm doing the film for, who occasionally shows up here. It is a Moxie Fox film. She feasts on the tears of the people who watch the movies. When it is at film festivals, when it is playing in a group of people, she's not watching the movie. She's scanning for tears, and every single tear that falls, she catalogs it, and then just feasts on it at night in her dreams. So I'm trying my best to make sure that monster gets fed all of her tears, like some sort of Lord of the Rings dragon, um, feasting on gold, whatever. But the other thing, not a trailer, just amazing. And like I've said in the past, if you want to make something awesome and you can afford to, if you have the means to and the ability to put a J.K. Simmons in your movie for any length of time, if you haven't seen Palm Springs, was it called? And it's just like, J.K. Simmons, oh my god, this movie just got 1,000 times better, and it was already 1,000 times better. If you can J.K. Simmons something, it's just guaranteed magic to have him in there. Invincible on Amazon. Now, I love the comic. I loved Invincible. I think I still have some on my shelf here somewhere, but maybe not. But there's an animated Invincible on Amazon now that so far I've only watched the first 2 episodes. There's 3 out now. I'm not sure. It said new ones every week, so I don't know how far they're gonna go with it. How big the season is gonna be. But man, oh man, it seems to be for the most part everything that I remember from the comics, which is again still just as disturbing, just as amazing as the comics. And somehow, Stephen Yun is the voice. I feel is that his name? But I want to call him Kevin from The Walking Dead. Glenn from The Walking Dead is the voice of Invincible. It's just the perfect voice. It's like I feel like this is the voice that I pictured reading it long before I ever knew Stephen Yun existed. I'm pretty sure I actually pictured. I think his name was Will Friedle. Will Friddle. Will Friedle. But Terry McGinnis, the Batman Beyond from the Batman Beyond cartoon, slash the older brother from Boy Meets World. So I think I probably pictured that voice, but Stephen Yeun, beyond perfect. And then J.K. Simmons as his dad. Just, oh, those two voices together. I'm just like, this couldn't sound any better. It looks great. And then, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, once you get to season 2, episode 2, oh my god, could you learn to talk? Could you learn to talk at all? I mean, season 2, episode 2, it's not complicated, alright? Just super simple things. Meow, 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 meow. No, we don't need to edit anything out. It's always live, Ripley. We're not taking the time to edit things. But yeah, once you get to episode 2, when Invincible, when now all I can think is Terry McGinnis. His name is something Grayson. Damn it. But whatever. Invincible teams up with some other kind of third tier young heroes, because maybe something happens to the main Justice League heroes. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't read the books or watched it, but oh man, oh man, they did such a good job. And part of me was like, I'm pretty sure this is exactly how it happened. I mean, I think it was spread out a bit more in the books, but definitely, again, just like I said with the Snyder cutting of things, if you take frames from good comics and just use those as your panels, and then slow motion, just use those shots. It makes your movie look good. But when this other team of heroes shows up, I didn't take the time to look at who all of the voices were, but Rex, whose powers I don't quite remember. I think he might have kind of Gambity powers, but he makes things explode, or at least throws little explosives out of his hands somehow. Is Jason Mantzoukas. So awesome, just awesome. Like great voices, looks fantastic, very very stylistically, pretty much as close as you can get to the comics, and oh, just good stuff, great voices. Again, I don't want to spoil anything. This isn't a review stream. We're just making little comic strips about a stupid cat uh yelling at a pigeon for some reason. That reason I'll figure out later on, because, I get too many other stories that I want to talk about, slash things that I've seen, and make it hard to think of something new. Um, But super recommend it. It is wicked violent. You know, heads do explode and whatnot. Eyeballs pop out. It's not a kid's cartoon at all, nor is the comic book, but I also recommend the comic. It is a Robert Kirkman as well. So the other Stephen Young thing, Walking Dead, he wrote that as well. But you know, TV wise, I got pretty sick of The Walking Dead. Uh, you know, mostly because unlike a superhero show, you can establish a bunch of rules of how to survive within this zombie apocalypse, and then every episode they just don't. Just like, hey, remember all that stuff we learned last week? Let's just move on, and then it just keeps getting darker and darker. I'm not against it, but you know, I just got real tired of it soap operaing my expectations every week, where it is just like they just sit around or walk around all episode long for an hour, and then the stuff that happens is always right at the end, and then the beginning of the next episode is like, hey, let's not continue from that cliffhanger. So I waited all week. I waited all week to see what was going on here. I'm just gonna go back to the books and I'm gonna read those, because I got a bunch of those on my shelf. But still, from the magic of Robert Kirkman, who's usually quite magical. Now, less magical TV madness. How much time we got here? Still got some time. So, I told Space Goonie to go watch this. Um, and I don't know, it's one of those weird things that is just like, I don't recommend this. I just don't. It's still a reality show and very much in the 2012 vein of painful, mean, just over dramatic, forced conflict reality game shows that I already don't condone. I already can't handle. But I was watching Game Grumps and Aaron mentioned like, yeah, blah 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 reality shows like when I was on this reality game show, and I was like, pause. I don't want to hear what happened until I go watch it. And the episodes that he was in are on YouTube. So it he's not in it enough, and everybody is just terrible, just like most reality shows. But I guess PlayStation Network had this TV show, this reality show back in 2012 era, and this was like season 3, where you would come in and do challenges and you would stay in the house. I can't remember. There was one that I liked watching because it was just all about the challenges, and even when people got kicked out, everybody felt bad because they all still worked as a team. They were just good people. You know, like maybe there was one or two people that were terrible, but for the most part, they were great people. But it was like, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like King of the Nerds, King of the Geeks, King of the Nerds, King of the Geeks, King of the Nerds, I believe it was called. And it was hosted by Curtis Armstrong and the other guy, the Egon looking guy from The Revenge of the Nerds, which I'm sure I watched at some point in time in my life. And that was awesome. I loved it. I watched at least several seasons, if there was more than one season of that. And again, like the puzzles, the challenges were all interesting. The all the people were interesting. They seemed genuinely excited by the prizes, genuinely excited by the challenges, genuinely enthralled in their newfound friendships, and they weren't all monsters. And this show, it was like if that show was just the mean version of that. So there, he shows them all in a van, and this guy is like in the foreground, like, yeah, I can't wait. And you can see Aaron, Ego Raptor from the Game Grumps, just kind of like, I'm so young and chubby. Like, who even am I at this point? It's just like, this is so bizarre. This is so bizarre. Like, you're so not the same person that I watch slash listen to on YouTube now. And Awkward Raccoon. Oh my god. Been a while. How you doing now? Um and so they finally they get to the house or whatever, and it was just weird because everybody right away is just like, hey, like, I'm standard horrible reality show person. Like, even though I'm happy and whatever, I'm still here to win, and I can't wait. Like, one of the prizes is a production assistant job on a AAA PlayStation game company. Like, that's gonna be amazing. Like, no, it's not. None of you have any skills to do that job. You're all just either just gamers, or one guy was just like, I used to be in the military and I cut hair, and another person was just like, none of you, other than being gamers, you're not designers at all. And it seems to be kind of a bug testing job that you're supposed to get, but they're kind of promising them like, oh, people who got this job, like, they go on to be developers. Like, no, they don't. No, they were already developer type people. And I'm on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm everywhere you want to be. Um, so the weirdest thing is the reason Aaron's on there, because they had one thing that was like fan votes. So on his channel, where it's like, well, I had a fan base. Um, so I was just like, hey guys, it might be fun if I get on this TV show. Vote for me. And they did. So he got on there. So everybody was just already against him being there, because it's like, oh, he's only here because he had a bunch of fans to vote for him. But we're actually like PlayStation aficionados. He's like, I have trophies for, like, I'm a gamer. I've won game competitions. Like, there isn't a reason for me not to be here. But yeah, like, I'm trying to be an internet personality and be on a TV show. Like, what's wrong with that? And they hate him for it. So he's already the extra person. And then they're having some challenges. And the first challenge is, we're basically just gonna have a job interview, because you thought you were here just to try and win a 3D TV. Remember those? Anyway, that's a top prize on this show, and everyone's excited to win a 3D TV and a PlayStation 3, which I have. That's my PlayStation that I have, which is 1,000 years old right now, and that's stupid to have. So, and a Ford something or other. Escalade? No. So he's like, I'm like here to win that prize and to be funny and to be entertaining. That's what I do, and I'm excited about it. And they're just like, we want somebody who's like gonna be here that really wants to work at PlayStation. And he's like, well, I want to do that too. That sounds cool. I didn't know that was a thing until 5 seconds ago. The prize was just this stuff, and we're just here to do challenges. None of these challenges correlate to working as a game tester, correlate to working at a company, but they keep asking them questions as if it is job related stuff. So first thing they do is well, I mean, it's a reality show, so I mean, but they're not gonna be like putting them in a box with bugs on their head though. So they probably play video games, or they have to test games and then find the bugs in a game and show their gaming prowess. Ripley, why did you just cut to yourself? Sometimes Ripley has to cut to herself. First thing that they do is they put their head in a box, cover them with Madagascar hissing cockroaches, and then start to ask them job interview questions. And for the most part, 90% of them are super okay with being covered with bugs and answering questions. One guy, they're just like, do you live with your mom? Like, yep, I live with my mom, and I love PlayStation. Like, of course you do. And that guy is awful. Like, he's clearly like the favorite, I think, that probably wins in the end. But he's fully talking hip hop street, and he's just a big white nerd that clearly is just on his headset being racist to children while he plays games when he's not on camera. While he's doing the interview, he's totally just like, oh, hello, I speak like this. It's like, that's your real voice, dog. That's your real voice. You're getting way too street, and I really wish that one of the black guys here would smash you to pieces for talking like this, because you're really just being terrible. His opening, it's very X Factory, yeah. His opening like little diatribe is like, oh, like this is really cool. Like this lady, like that's she's a model and she's a gamer and she's here like evaluating us. Like she's so much hotter in real life. Oh my god, like if she was your girlfriend, you definitely put a dress on because she'd be wearing the pants in that relationship. Also, like this goth chick, super cool. Like, would love to be with her. And this Asian chick, like, I'm totally into Asian chicks. Oh my god. And then he just refers to her as like, oh, like Asian chick. Hey, goth chick or whatever. Is like, you people are already using your weird gamer names. Just use those. Oh my god. Like, you're on TV, but it's 2012, so it's still in a world where even the announcers are just like saying like, hey, and this hot bombshell is doing this. Like, hey, nobody who would disagree with this. Like these hot babes or whatever. I'm like, half, if not more than half of the contestants are women in this thing, so it's just not appropriate. But it is very much the weird like the beer commercial version of TV. And again, just the way reality shows were back then, and still are, I assume. I haven't watched a reality show in so long, but it was just so every minute of it was offensive, and they just couldn't wait to get rid of Aaron. And I'm just like, I hope he's gone by the third episode because I definitely don't know how many more of these episodes I can watch. So they do the job interview thing. Here you go. Here's some action figures. Here's some not PSPs, PlayStation Vitas. Like, and they're like, whoa. And they just kept saying, like, clearly fed to them commercial things like, oh, the dual analog and the graphics processing. This thing is so great. Like, and they're just saying commercial things. And then the next thing is like, hey, like Twisted Metal. Like, we're making a new Twisted Metal for the PS3. So here's your Twisted Metal challenge. Here's a bunch of parts. Put together this weird little trolley thing that kind of looks like a Twisted Metal thing. We're going to dress you all up as clowns, pull yourself on a rope, and then somebody has to shoot a Nerf gun at a target, and then you win, or whatever. So it's all clearly edited to make certain people look bad, make certain people look good. It was like, this is just awful. Oh, and the sexist guy who was saying that stuff, when they were like, oh, the Ford, whatever, Explorer, something or other, like, they cut to him and he's like, oh, this is pretty great, like, and it's totally a unisex vehicle, so I can totally get down with that. It's not going to be too girly or whatever. Anybody can totally enjoy this car. Like, it's an SUV. Who cares? What are you talking about? What? What are you even saying? Like, just go, like, go home to your mom and tell her, hey, Mom, I'm garbage. I'm garbage. Anyway, I'll continue in the basement, never ever doing anything with my life. So as people did get eliminated, they were like, well, guess I'm going to go back to my job as a barber. Guess I'm just going to go back to my job working at GameStop. Like, clearly none of you are going to go into game production. Like, it seems like that's your passion for, is that's all you keep saying. The I should have, did I write, how many notes did I make on this? No, those are all Invincible notes. So, okay, so on the, there was the excited about the prize. There was something else in that first episode, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, that's what it was. So when they're like, saying what everybody's all about, it's just like, oh, I play games. Like, I have all of the, the God of War games. That's my favorite. Like, all the platinum versions, and I, like, got all the trophies. Like, so, I mean, obviously, I should be working at PlayStation. I have a great imagination. And one guy, however he says, I have a great imagination, is said in a way that's just like, that is the worst way to speak ever. Like, my imagination is imagining, yeah. So I should be totally the imagination guy. Like, do you want to hire, like, nope, no, just in your inability to put that sentence together. No, we don't want you here. But you've got a lot of energy, so you're definitely going to be on the show. And they kept cutting to Aaron just being super low energy, and to which he said on Game Grumps, she was like, "There's a bunch of other stuff they could have used, but they were trying to paint me as the extra villain guy, so they just used all the shots where I just looked like I was being a jerk. When although I was still being a jerk, I was still also being super fun and stuff as well. But they wanted me to be the bad guy." Um, and also, they never pointed out, like, Aaron's an animator and an artist, so out of all of these people, he's the only one with any actual potential to help out in the creation of anything. Like, and everybody else is just, you know, like I said, like, they just like playing games. It doesn't mean, whatever. Like, he has experience doing stuff. So, he's a creator. But whatever, they decided he's the bad guy. And so yeah, so next challenge, they put together these twisted metal machines, and they got to pull themselves in a rope. So they're trying to put them together, and this one girl speaks Spanish. She speaks English during the thing, but at a certain point, she's just saying something that I assume was along the lines of like, let's go, like, don't waste time. And they're like, oh, like, speak English, like. So when they go to the tribunal to get people um, kicked out later on, that's one of the things they bring up is just like, well, I mean, one of us wasn't even speaking English, so what's the deal there? Like, regardless, all you were doing was putting pegs in holes, so it didn't matter. And also, you already knew what was going on, and none of you were listening to each other regardless. So you're only coming off racist here. Like, you're only coming off racist. So they were desperately trying to get rid of that girl, in 1,000 different ways, and it was just upsetting. Like, there was at least 2 or 3 people that were just like, hey, I just want to build everybody up. Like, I don't know what they're doing. We just agreed before we went to go get judged that we're not going to attack each other. And then they would attack each other. And then finally, the most insane thing is on the 3rd episode, the challenge was like, oh, it's Drake's, adventure, the Uncharted series. So they had to like climb over a bunch of stuff and then fire these cantaloupes out of a slingshot at these targets. So Aaron went first for his group. He hit his target first shot. Supposedly, he said that they cut out the part where he's like, I showed them and told them how to hit the targets. And then I was like, we're going to need more ammo. So I immediately went and I started loading everybody up with ammo, and I went and got more. So when they got to the thing, they were like, what's the deal with that? Like, you could have stayed behind. You just took off to go get more cantaloupe. So, like, what was that all about? You should have stayed and helped people, fire better. When it was like, well, the other problem was you're getting on this other girl for getting in the way for trying to help other people fire better when that wasn't her place. She should have gone to get cantaloupe. So they're like, Aaron, like, you've been on the losing team 3 times. You're out of here. And it's just like, he was good on all of those challenges. Like, either he was nowhere near the reason that they didn't win, or he was the one that did the fastest and there was like 4 other people. So they still just kept eliminating people like crazy. And like I said, it was still from beginning to end just this thing where it was like, I'm just hating these people more and more and more. Nobody has any redeeming qualities. And the greatest vindication, the funniest, best part of all of it is that we all know, just like the one of the games that I play on the stream is Aaron's game that he and the Game Grumps and his friends, his people have developed. He's made a bunch of things that are successful, and all of these people probably still live with their parents and work at GameStop or wherever, at a gas station or something like that, and never tried beyond this. Maybe they did. Maybe they became something, and that's great. but he's become a force to be reckoned with. Like, he runs a touring company. He has like multiple companies under his belt. And just like, if he had gotten that PA job, he that would have, if anything, excuse me, slowed down his career. Have a good night, Space Goonie. Have a good night. Godspeed, little doodle. Godspeed, and happiest of dreams. Sweet dreams, they're made of these. And who am I to disagree? Some of them wanna go to sleep, and some of them also want to go to sleep. What time is it? We should be going to sleep soon as well. We should. We really should. We'll finish roughing this. Maybe do a bit of cleaning. I think I've thought about what this one might be about as I've drawn this last pose. We'll find out if I can find some time during the week or weekends. Finish this off and add some words. Maybe I'll just make some notes. Finish it on the stream next week. I never do that. I always wait till next week. Or I try to finish it before next week. So that's about it. They got rid of Aaron, and then they got rid of somebody else for the exact opposite reason that they got rid of Aaron. So it's like, no matter what, this is insane, and nobody's really paying attention because, like I said before, there's no such thing as actual adults, and all the adults that were in charge are it's just nonsense. Um, And still, the even funnier thing is like all the stuff that they were pushing has been so obsolete and just out of production for so long. Oddly enough, just today, I got an email from PlayStation saying, "Oh, hey, by the way, since you're an old man from the '40s, still playing a PlayStation 3, we're discontinuing all that stuff like for good now. It's all about the PS4 and the PS5. So anything that you have purchased and have on your PlayStation, like, yep, you'll still be able to use that and re-download it. But you're not, we're shutting it all down. You won't be able to get updates or buy new things from the store, which is like, that's fine. I mostly just get discs from the secondhand store across the street anyway. And I'm kind of amazed that it does still exist at this point. But yeah, they're just like, hey, remember that show you were just watching last night? Everything that they mentioned there, we're throwing it all in the garbage. And even the PS Vita, I'm just like, I'm not even sure. Was that before or after the PSP? Like, no, did anybody enjoy that thing? Because they were losing their mind. It was just coming out during that season. But yeah, oh, some of these people were just unbearable. But other than that, in internet/TV watching, the last little bit, I've been watching a lot of Caravan of Garbage slash is it called Mr. Sunday Night Movies, Mr. Sunday Movies. So like even right before this, I was just watching a bunch of stuff about the Transformers movies. And it was very, very hard not to start the stream by doing a very terrible Australian accent because I've just been listening to those guys, and that's just what's in my head. That's why it's important. Talk to real people in the world. But I did. I did go out into the world this week. You went down the street. I mean, did that really count as going out into the world? Yes. Yes, it does. It's outside of this apartment, but it's been a while. It's been a long time. Uh, yes. Two things. I haven't watched. I can't quite bring myself to watch a whole episode of Dave Gorman's Life is Goodish. I'll watch the odd clip of it, usually when he's got a panel of people just going over weird internet things that he's found. That's pretty great. Or just specific breakdowns of things. Like I watched one of his things about Google whacking or whatever. He gets very teachery about things, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, I was like, it's mostly the set, like that, wood and whatever. It was like this set doesn't fit what he's talking about, and it's all I can think about, and it makes me crazy. If the set was different, I might enjoy it more. Um, but there's something about him and that set that just like I can't handle a lot of it. Um, but it is like it's pretty interesting. But there's that. And the other thing I gave a try to because of Alex Horn and Taskmaster was No More Jockeys. It's always popping up. Like, you've watched 75 hours of the same episode of Taskmaster. Why not watch this No More Jockeys? Like, because I don't quite understand what it is. And I watched one, or at least listened to it. And since I don't know most of the people they're talking about, I don't know all of the British famous people. Um, Although they still mention people from the rest of the world, it's mostly that slash still a thing that gets kind of boring. They drift around, but it's Alex Horn, Tim Key, who also works on the Taskmasters in like the first season, and other guy whose name I can't quite remember, but he is on the Nish and Ashling B season, and his name is can't remember, but the guy that they keep calling a heron, he most resembles a heron. Very good friends with Alex for a long time, but the three of them get together over like Zoom, and then they play this game where basically they say a name, and then based on some characteristic of that person, they say, all right, now no more blank. Like, whatever. Milo the cat. All right, no more characters based on, imaginary characters that are based on real live cats that don't exist anymore. It's like, okay, then they'll either kind of lightly discuss it or start saying things. Sometimes it's like, oh, no names that are hard to spell. No people whose names are also food. And then they just keep saying things until one of them catches the other one, basically saying a name. And then there's a timer, I guess. But yeah, I think I might, just because I was animating, have let a second episode play, but I didn't quite let it sink in. Only the parts where they're talking outside of the game really register, but the game itself, I'm just like, this is insane. But the Dave Gorman thing, I think that will probably be a good one for throwing on to just listen to while I do some work, because there is a lot of just super interesting stuff that he does cover. The thing about Mark Watson, yes, that's exactly who it is. Um, uh, One of the things he was saying where sometimes people will just believe stuff, like they show them a an illusion image was one of the things where it's like, oh well, here's a picture. It's a picture of a bunny, but it also looks like a frog. And people will eventually, if you keep saying it, that oh, lots of people just only see the frog, they don't see the bunny, and you're just like, I can't see it. But some people are like, oh yeah, I see it, and there just isn't one. There just isn't one at all. And in some cases, they're just like, oh no no, we just told them to lie, and people just will lie because it's for television stuff. Um, and That's where I watched. I almost brought this up somewhere. It wasn't on stream. Why did I almost bring this up? Oh, it was during karate lessons. I started to type it, then I'm like, oh, it's too late now. But they mentioned KFC for a second. And Pat probably did see this, but they were showing on Dave Gorman's Life is Goodish where the KFC gravy comes from, how they actually make the KFC gravy. And man, oh man, I want to say I used to really love KFC gravy. And I don't really eat much meat anymore as it is. And KFC itself is like, that's barely edible for years. Like when I have gotten it, it's just like, this is going to tear me apart and I'm going to feel like garbage. Like just have a weird KFC hangover instantly. It's just not good. But they're French fries that are at the bottom of the barrel of not the best French fries for all of the fast food French fry availabilities are made 1,000% better when you dip them in KFC gravy. But in general, yeah, when you make gravy, it's made out of like the scrapings of the other meat things that you make. But the visual of they open up the bottom of the fryer that looks like, oh, this is something that should be just hosed out and never used for anything. It's just like the bowels of the machinery. They just scrape out all this just greasy garbage gunk and turn that as into the gravy. It just looks so horrendous that that again, even like as a kid, I didn't start eating gravy until I was like long into adulthood. And again, mostly because it is like, yep, this is how we make gravy. We mix a little bit of cornstarch or whatever with a bunch of the old animal fat and the drippings and what have you, and then it's this brown stuff. We just add some brown to it. And I'm just like, no, everything about this seems horrendous, and I don't want it. I'll just enjoy my French fries. And it wasn't until having some KFC gravy that I'm like, oh, well, now I will when I go home for a Thanksgiving or like Christmas. Like, yeah, I'm gonna pour some of this gravy on my potatoes for sure. Um, it's amazing, you know, much in the same way that I had a bunch of steamed vegetables the other day, and it's like I'm not just gonna eat some straight up steamed vegetables. That's a stupid thing to do. I am, however, going to coat this in a pile of butter and some salt and pepper, because then it's going to be delicious. It mildly defeats the purpose of just steamed vegetables, but butter is you know, the lighter version of gravy, the less meaty version of gravy. I don't know. Butter is magical. It makes everything better. But realistically, if I did make and or love gravy a lot, uh, I could definitely see myself being a person who gets a can of gravy or that gravy mix stuff and mixing up some gravy to dip my vegetables in order to get myself to eat more vegetables. It's like most things, as horrific as it is to make certain things come into existence, those are usually the best things. I mean, chicken in and of itself, like, you know, knowing that McDonald's will still be open when I'm done doing the stream, after saying this, it's going to be very hard to just be like, I should just jump in the car and go get myself 10 chicken McNuggets and then eat them all in one go because they're amazing. Because they're just amazing. But the more I think about chicken McNuggets and chickens in general, and just pets and cats and dogs and their little eyes looking at you, going, we have not a animal brain, have not this meaty innards or whatever, and also my Instagram feed. Although it's a lot of just like, hey, I'm just an average single mom. Hey, here's some action figures. Hey, here's some artwork. Also, hey, for I don't know what reason whatsoever, here's a video that's playing of just kind of meat being processed. Here's, a machine that's just jamming butter or other pieces of foodstuffs inside of a big hunk of chicken or pork or beef. Then I'm just like, oh my god, like, this absolutely, and it's just still raw, and it's a factory version where I'm like, this definitely just makes me not want to eat meat. And thankfully, I am at a point where my freezer is mostly filled with plant-based fake versions of meats. And although I usually in the cheese department either just try to avoid it or get lactose-free cheese, for lunch today I had myself a plant-based grilled cheese sandwich and a big old plate of cucumbers. And most of the plant-based cheese is horrendous. It's weird, and not cheesy and creepy. Um, but I get these slices that have a picture of like a grilled cheese on the package that I'm like, that looks good, and they're already sliced, and just throw them onto the frying pan, between two slices of buttered up bread, and between the butter and the magic soy potato concoction that makes up these plant-based cheese, I don't know, dreams and wizardry. It makes a good old grilled cheese. Makes a good old grilled cheese. And it makes a plant-based burger 1,000 times better, because some plant-based burgers are no good at all, and they definitely need some cheese and or some bacon. Um, but the last few versions that I've tried were pretty good, but they are 1,000 times better with some either real cheese or those weird plant-based cheese slices. Cause a spoonful of gravy makes the broccoli go down. It's nice and brown, won't make you frown. Just a spoonful of gravy make you run home from town to poop in your pants all day. It's kind of funny that you say like I make some good grilled cheese sandwiches, uh, because there's really not even a whole lot to making a grilled cheese sandwich, but some people are terrible at making grilled cheese sandwiches. I've definitely made some terrible ones where I'm like, cheese has got to be gooey and drippy and just like real melty, and so just end up like burning it, where it's like it's still kind of good, even though it's definitely burnt too much. But people who have that just perfect timing, that perfect like I can see it's like just on the cusp of being just crispy enough without getting too burnt, without getting too crispy, and still the cheese getting perfectly gooey. It's a it's a total skill, and also especially if you're having it with soup or something, to be able to have the timing to as well make and serve the grilled cheese so that it's still at optimum grilled cheesiness and toastiness when the soup is ready as well. That's just it's hard math to do, especially if you don't do it all the time. There's definitely been times where I'm like, no, 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 like we're having grilled cheese and soup every day all week now because A, I don't want this cheese to go bad, and B, I'm in a good grilled cheese momentum. My grilled cheese sense slash soup sense is on point. So let's keep it going while it's good. And then once you hit a bad day, and it's like, all right, time to switch to something else. Living, watching the fire build up now. Wonder, I wonder, how hard would it be? Where would I look? Find. Hmm. That'd be in the animation folder, right? And be folder just called like Milo cartoons or Milo animations somewhere in here. What if I look at it in alphabetical order? That might help. Uh, no, no, no. I couldn't even guess what it was called, but it has to still be in here somewhere. Some of these are like crazy old. Um, no. Try. Oh, Milo projects. It's gotta be in here. Old Milo parts. Milo comics. Huh. Ripley. Milo songs. Oh, these are some offensive titles that I never ever finished. Hoop Song, or what that was about. Oh, if this is opening anywhere. It's gonna wants me to go to an app store. Poop song. I'd like to apologize. Let's make Milo say it. Milo, read your poop song. I'd like to apologize for all that I've done. I'm just a cat, just trying to have fun. I pooped into your shoes, and I'm really sorry. I had a quick poop, and that's not the whole story. I pooped into your shoes, and I peed on the rug. I threw up on the carpet, 'cause I ate a bug. I know your feet don't smell like roses, but I filled your shoes, so I could get noticed. Late at night, when you go to bed, I climb up, and I lay on your head. I'm really sorry if it smothers you dead. Celebrity sex tape? This is my celebrity sex tape. Oh, this is another thing. Guess that's where that ended. Whoa. Wow. I'd have a whole other book full of poetry in here that if I put this stuff together. So many things. So many things. Somewhere in here is Milo and old Milo videos. Oh wow, there's a whole folder full of stuff. They called Milo and a Penguin. Milo Mel Gibson. Milo Justin Bieber. Milo Facebook. Milo Game. Milo Hoarders. Oh, these are really old. Sure. Oma. Not in there. Hmm. Oh, this feels like it might be right. Pigeon Hate. Here we go. I wonder if this will play. Oh, there we go. Move this down here. And I believe if I click on this, there we go. Only 49 seconds. I think he just stares and hates this pigeon. That's back when I was trying to fill Milo's Twitter with stuff. Where did that folder just go to? Weird. Nope, that's not it. Alright, I guess I just closed that folder. But yeah. That's from the old adventures of one day I just started digging through stock footage of things and trying to jam Milo in there with a little shadow and make it seem semi-believable that he was looking at stuff. There's one where he's yelling at a puppy, I'm pretty sure. What if I go to open recent? Your recent folders thing, not in animes. Oh, there we go. Go. Recent folders. Damn it, that's not the one. Milo projects. Raptor. Talking at the camera. Jaws. Neat eyes. Another pigeon one. This one's all about. Oh, it looks like he's saying something. Back over to this screen. Here we go. Did you just say that there's more meat in the eye? La la la. Yeah. Said, did you say there's more meats in the eye? I used to be so adorable. Back when I had lighter orange skin and you know, good times. Good times. Those were good times. We were just making little short stuff. I'm getting back into that. Again, if I wasn't working on a film all day and all night, I got some stuff that I'm trying to put together so we can basically start doing more and filling the YouTube with little shorts again. Maybe I should just re-upload some of these things. Now that I realize I've got a whole folder jam-packed with them that I've completely forgotten about. Hey, Pleasant Boy 198. You're the pleasantest of boys. Pleasanting away. Not causing trouble in any sort of way. Ripley? Do we have time to load some more of these on the screen? Meow. 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 Alright, so let's see what else we can find. And yeah, these I'm gonna have to try my best to both get some work done tomorrow and not spend / maybe spend a minute re-uploading some of these with the new Mr. Cartoons tag instead of the old Curtis and Tara show from a million years ago. So let's go to this screen for a second, and then did I close? Why do I keep closing the folder? Oh no, there it is. There is one with just a random puppy. That was like just a stock footage puppy, not Burke. Oh, here it is. Probably the one called Dogs. Drag this down to the correct screen. And this is gonna be a bear thing. I mean, you know, sometimes you just don't want to go through the old yearbook of things, and maybe just like let's not look at these, because some of these I was really mean. I was really mean. You're still horribly mean. You're awful. You're still awful. We're watching it. We're watching it. Tablet screen. Click it so I can see what's going on here. Seems to be on the screen properly. And literally, I have no idea. I have zero idea what's about to be said here. I think I remember now.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
La la la. Oh, that was good stuff. I thought that he starts screaming, "Look at me," instead of "Don't look at me." But yeah, just sifting through, I can't in 1,000 years remember what stock footage site I was on, but I found some free stock footage site, signed up for it, and was like, "Here you go, unlimited stock footage. Do whatever with it." And yeah, there was a bunch of stuff like that, but this one dog was just kept like, huh? Trying not to look over here, and I'm like, oh, how do I not? How do I not put a weird fake imaginary cat there, telling him not to look at him? So I knew it was one of my favorites, but I also I also didn't remember that they were so unbelievably short. So that also kind of encourages me to make the ones that I was thinking of, because I'm like, oh, I can't make videos that are just 40 seconds long. That's insane. And these are definitely even shorter than 40 seconds. So turns out it's okay. And I'm gonna go find some more stock footage stuff, because man, oh man, what a fun game that is, to find different ways to jam Milo into stock footage. But I still need to revamp this version of Milo a little bit, because I genuinely can't remember. I don't think you have legs. Maybe you do. I know Ripley doesn't have legs, but I think I think there's a version of this that has legs. Oh my god. What are you even talking about right now? So if I look down right now, I'm gonna be all Lieutenant Dan and I can't feel my legs. But that's traumatic to find out. Like, seriously? You're super lucky. You're super lucky that I've been tranced by this bug. I mean, since on there, you copy everything from everything else, so the legs that are on the bug, couldn't you just at least reuse those if I don't have legs and just paste those onto my body? Plus, you still need to fix this body anyway, so I mean, you know, I guess that's why you never get anything done. There's always a bunch of little extra things that you need to do, and you're a little bit extra lazy. I mean, a little bit extra lazy. I mean, I've got a whole folder full of stuff here. It's just, I'm not, you know, I'll have months at a time where I just produce a bunch of things, and it's not really laziness if I'm busy doing things. I don't see you taking your hands that supposedly work and making things. You're just over there fighting me on the fact that, like, oh no, I exist, I'm real, but you never make anything. You're no help whatsoever. I'm the inspiration. I am the catalyst for all of the things. So all I have to do is just sit here and exist, which I do, and it's offensive when you say that I don't. And then you take that existence, and you just make it even more fun. Just wait till I'm not around, and then make me do things that hopefully that I condone. And honestly, as much as I was worried about you showing me hating things, I'm kind of up for you just showing me hating things. Once again, if you could finish that other new project of me hating Shia LaBeouf, I think that would be fun for everybody. It really would. It really would. And yes, you do have legs, because in the Shia LaBeouf video, you have legs. I just haven't animated you or recorded you saying the things that you hate about Shia LaBeouf. But thankfully, Shia LaBeouf has given us a bunch of reasons to hate him. So we don't actually have to come up with anything that's silly. We can just actually hate him in a video, and that's kind of fine. Kind of fine now, and not feel bad about it. Oh, I wasn't gonna feel bad about it. Not one bit. I mean, if anything, it was just gonna be innocuous and silly. But now it could be, a hatred that we could take to the bank and cash some nice, delightful hate checks. Guys, why not make a video about saying, "Hey Shia, why not be a good guy?" Because that's no fun. It's more fun to be like, "Hey, stop being a turd," because that's the word, is that you're a turd. It's no longer bird. And, we already made the video about hating the bird. We just watched it 4 seconds ago. All right, I guess you make a good point. That was bodacious. Anything you guys want to do, I'm supportive, and I will be up here in this painting, just supporting things bodaciously and righteously. Thanks, Ted. You're a treasure. You're a treasure. Meow, meow, meow. And you're the sweetest angel, all right? Everybody. Oh my god, it's getting late and I should go to bed. This has gotten out of hand. Am I a sweet angel? An angel of the darkness. An angel of the night. Not the angel you deserve, but the angel you need. And I'll kill Harvey dead, if that's what angels do. Alright, calm down. I don't know what to do with you. Just quiet down. Quiet down. You're gonna be replaced with a fly one of these days. Or a little ladybug. What happened to that ladybug? Is that gonna fly into my mouth later when I'm not thinking about it? I haven't heard it or seen it in like an hour. Somewhere there's a ladybug. Somewhere there's a ladybug. And I believe, as you type that path, ladybugs are somewhat poisonous, or at least toxic. You're not supposed to eat them. But if you listen to me, I already believe that most insects at least have some sort of mild toxicity, and this shouldn't be ingested in any way, shape, or form. All right, there. If I finish cleaning this up, then all I have to do is add words later when I have a break. Then make a reel where we just move the camera from panel to panel, do silly, silly voices. My voice isn't silly. I'm practically a scientist over here. That's speaking of unacceptable mugs, available at MrCartoons.com. If you could either go to the Society 6 link and buy merchandise that has me and other hilarious things that we have come up with, or go to the bookstore where you can buy books that you've just gotten your tax form for to show that you've made a gross income from book sales of $20 whole for the year. So that's adorable. That's an adorable amount of money. Uh, but yeah, I'm practically like a scientist over here. I mean, there's nothing silly about this voice at all. What's silly about it? What's silly? You're silly. You're the silly one. And I threatened, and I challenged you to a game of frogs. All right, calm down. Soon enough, if I get a chance again, we'll play some more frogs, and hopefully, I can revindicate myself. And in the winning, proclaim that your voice is silly, and the things that you say are even sillier. Sometimes I give him toes. Sometimes I don't even know if I gave him some toes in the last frame. All I can think about is getting some chicken nuggets. Going through that Drive through. Asking for a bucket full of sweet chicken bells and bows and bones. One shaped like a boot. Sometimes they stick together and they're shaped like a monster of banana fruit. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. That's some sort of country song. That's the great thing about Milo is he's always either just got a miss or the three fingers. I don't usually accidentally give them extra fingers, but for so many years it was my job just to look through things and judge. And most people don't even notice. Like that's the hardest thing about working on this film is I'll do a scene and then I'll just treat myself like the animators I used to supervise instead of trying to treat myself as one of the animators unsupervised where I just draw whatever. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. Who cares? And I just scrutinize everything over and over again to the point where I still, even in spite of fixing and changing a bunch of things, I've got 1,000 notes already in my head of like when this is done, I'm gonna go back through it and adjust a bunch of things just based on the reasoning of Curtis from 20 years ago and his judgments. And oh, so annoying sometimes. So annoying. Like, there's definitely a few shots that I'm like, this is more than good enough. Like, more than good enough. And technically better than I'm actually capable of, unless I sit down and put a bunch of extra time into this and do stuff that, again, nobody will notice. It's something that goes by so fast that if I go and watch a real show or film by somebody that's like, hey, you're an established thing, or this is on TV for real, and they didn't put in these extra frames. They didn't do these extra things that I made sure to go back and fix because it's wrong otherwise. Um, but sometimes I just have to. It's just like, ugh, this isn't good enough. And how dare I? You know, I already feel kind of bad about myself because I'm like, I'm not shading this. I'm not shading this. It's so rare that people shade their animations. It's usually just flat colors. I mean, it took me forever to make this thing not have shading on it or be, gradiented so it looks a little more like it fits with the. Calm down. You don't deserve gradients. That it fits with the real lighting. I'm like, I'm not trying to make something 3D. I'm not going to sit here and learn 3D and make whatever. The whole point of especially Milo is that he is just kind of thrown together and supposed to be quick and easy fun. And when I really sit down and think about him too hard, then it's just like, oh, now I've destroyed all the fun. All the fun is gone. It's become work. I already have work, and he's not supposed to be work. He's just supposed to be nonsense. Um, Kind of add some more stop motion characters. I'm here if ever you need me to be a stop motion action figure. Instead of replacing me with that stupid Orco floating magic fellow, I'm here waiting every day, every night, every week. I'm one button away. You don't need to go and make something new. I've got this guy. He's here. JV. He's wearing a mask. We're both wearing masks, so you don't have to worry about mouth movements of any kind. You just have to get used to the fact that this is the voice for me. And it sounds too much like your own voice unless you really concentrate on enunciating and putting a bit of accentation on it. I don't even know where you are. You're not on the table anymore. You're on a shelf in the other room. So it's just weird. It's just weird. Just weird. There's so many. There's not even that many buttons. So many characters. So many characters. Let's make some turtle soup and get some of those chicken nuggets. And can't stop thinking about more chicken nuggets and cheeseburgers. A cheeseburger with nuggets on the side and some delicious fries will be amazing at 11 o'clock in the night. No. Ugh. Anyway, that's some panels. That's some panels of some comic stripping. I believe it will end up being something along the lines of, "Hey, you're super disease. Stay away from me." As we started the stream by talking about, and then somewhere in the last panel, Milo just deciding, actually, I would like to weaponize you and have you fly into the face of my enemies if you'd like to join me, but stay away from me. But that seems like an awful lot to put into one panel, but something like that. Or it will just end up with Milo being mean, as in, I've made my peace. Get away from me, you disgusting, disgusting flying pile of disease. But like I said, I don't know. After I draw these things, let them percolate in my head. The next day, they usually end up being about something completely different than the vague idea that I had when I started drawing them. Either way, this has been another. Ooh, still almost 11 o'clock. There goes the people with their loud engines. Hey, it's almost 11 o'clock. Let's rev our loud engines and drive around town, because nobody doesn't like that, right? Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. But yeah, I'll try my best to get a bunch of work done so that I can still play some video games. So at least on the weekend, I'll sneak in some more Mario Brothers at least. Maybe I'll have another round of frunk tossing with Milo, or I'll just play some stuff on my own. I've got a whole library of PS3 and Wii U slash Wii games that I've never ever played, and I think it will be fun to watch me be frustrated at discovering what these things are about, or delighted discovering what these things are about. Either way, lots of stuff to play, and once I get through all of those, then maybe I'll finally upgrade myself to a Switch. And by then, who knows, maybe Nintendo will have a new thing out, and the Switch will finally be a second tier old machine, because very, very hard to get myself to pay money to have new machines. Even right now, the PS4 is still way too new for me to move up to that level. But yeah, thanks to everybody for updates as always. Follow the Instagram and the Twitter. I make sure to update that as well, all at Mr. Cartoons. If you don't follow on or subscribe to the YouTube, that would be amazing. If you did, like I said, I still just need like 54 subscriptions, which are free, to change the name to YouTube/Mr. Cartoons. Links are below on the below the Twitch video and the about link tree on the Instagram, also at mrcartoons.com, where you can of course get some comics, get the poetry books, as well as the sexy dinosaur books, and of course their shirts and whatnot. I think that's it. Anything from you? No, I'm all good. Just gotta get some sleep so I can go do some pigeon yelling tomorrow, because all of this watching of pigeon videos really makes me want to go back to my roots and just do some staring and yelling at some, adorable puppies, adorable pigeons, anything that I can find, really. Stroller full of babies. Oh man, that would be the sweetest plum, to just scream into a stroller full of babies. Anyway, that's all for me. Ripley, play those sweet, sweet outro credits. Ripley. Nobody said we don't need to see you. You don't need to just press the buttons. It's great that you got a whole control center there. Just press the buttons. It's time to go to bed.